Hello legends and super legends, welcome to Veloharmony. Today I wanted to follow up on a video that I just made about free speed in cycling. And the reason that I felt the need to do that is some of the comments that came out shortly after I made the video there was a guy named Frank and a couple of other people making comments. Frank said that he can ride at 80 RPMs all day long and so forth and so on. And what I was trying to do this video to explain is that you don't want to ride at one cadence all day long. That's kind of like buying a car and saying that the car can only do 3,000 RPMs. That's a limited car. If you ever needed to accelerate in any situation, what would you do? So a good example I can make is this. Even if you're not a racer or you don't want to ride in a group ever, which are the main reasons for being dynamic, you limit yourself too much. At 80 RPMs in any particular gear, you will only produce a certain speed. So, for example, I haven't calculated it to the nth degree. Let's say you're doing 80 RPMs in a 5317. That's like an 84-inch gear. Okay, at 100 RPMs in that same gear, you would be doing, say, 40 kilometers an hour or 25 miles an hour. So let's extrapolate. Let's say if you're doing 80, let's say for every 5 RPMs, maybe you get a mile per hour, thereabouts. So let's say you would be doing, say, 20 miles an hour at 80 in the same gear. So you're riding along at 80 RPMs in the 5317. And like Frank said, you can do that all day long. And then a dog comes from the corner and he's heading for you. What are you going to do? You think the dog will wait for you to shift up into a bigger gear, since all you can do is 80 RPM. That's basically because you're limited. That's all you can do. That's all you train your body to do. So in order for you to go faster, you would need to go into the 5316 or 15 or something, or even the 14 or bigger. Well, what's going to happen? You're not going to have the snap because that dog's coming. He's not limited. He's got speed. See, speed is... So when that dog is coming, dogs can run at 27, some of them 30 miles an hour. What are you going to do? You got to get from 20 miles an hour to, let's say, 25 miles an hour like that. What are you going to do? If you shift up, he's already on you because you haven't gained any speed yet because you're shifting because you want to do 80 now in a 53, let's say 15 or 14 to maybe get near 25. You see how limiting that is? Whereas if you had trained your body, you would be in the same gear at 80 RPMs and you spot the dog and you spin that gear to 100 or 110 or more and get up to speed. Now jump, then shift to maintain that speed. That's acceleration. That's power. Riding around at 80 RPM is not power. Power is the velocity that you can produce in any gear. That's power. Those of you who have a power meter, look at it when you're generating power. If you're in a huge gear, you don't generate a whole lot of watts. You can maintain a certain wattage, but you don't generate instant power. Instant power comes from spinning the gear. So let's come back to those of you who are saying, I'm not going to do a group ride, I'm not going to do racing or whatever, but I just like to ride at 80, 83 hours. There's nothing wrong with that, but why train your body to do one thing when the body can do anything it wants to do that you teach it to do? Why would you limit yourself? Why learn one language when you can learn 3? So, look at it that way at a minimum. But for those of you who are thinking about, there's somebody who just posted, I think it was the same Frank that said he's going to do a group ride, or he did a group ride for the first time. Yeah, he did a group ride for the first time. He sent a message on the website. He did a group ride. It went really well. He ended up pulling in the group that did like 20 something miles or whatever. If it's the same Frank I'm thinking about who left the message on the website that also posted that on that video that he likes to do only 80, you're going to have to teach yourself to do more than 80. You're going to have to do drills and teach your body to pedal faster, because that group that you're riding with, they're not going to ride at one speed. And when they pick up from 20 miles an hour to 20 something miles an hour, you don't have time to shift up in a bigger gear, grind it at 80 to get up to speed. You need to be able to spin the gear you're in. Imagine driving a car that's a stick shift and you're in fourth gear and you come around a corner. You have to downshift and accelerate to get that speed. You can't stay in a big gear and lug your engine. It's the same thing. So don't limit yourself pedaling at 80 RPMs. You should be able to pedal in excess of 120 RPMs if you chose to teach your body how to do that. The body can learn anything. So if you teach it to only do 80, that's you limiting yourself. So don't, the comment you're making about, oh, I can do that all day long. Nobody cares about what you can do all day long. What matters is whether you can do what you need in the moment you need it. If the light changes from green to yellow and you're right there and you can't snap and get through that, who cares if you can do 80 RPMs all day long? If you're riding with a group and they take off on a flat road, they're not doing 80 RPMs, not the experienced riders anyway. It depends on who you're riding with. But as you start to ride more and more, to ride with better riders, you're going to have to improve your range. Your tachometer needs to be able to rev. And if you can't rev, you will be limited and you will be dropped when you get around faster riders. It doesn't matter whether the road is flat or going up. When the speed changes, if you're limited, you're going to be searching for gears and your legs can only do so much, because if the gear is too heavy, you're not going to be able to do 80 RPMs in every gear on the bike. That's why you must use the lowest possible gear to achieve the speed you need. That's the way you improve. And a lot of times when you're doing a workout, if you limit your RPMs, you can't even drive your heart rate up because your legs blow up before you can even get there. That's another limiting thing about that. So I just wanted to make this video to specify that you must teach your body to respond to different cadences. Do not limit yourself. Yeah, your body's used to 80 RPMs now, but if you teach it, it will get used to 90. If you teach it, it will get used to 100. You don't have to sit at 100 RPMs all day long, but you should be able to go from 60 to 130 if you need to, or 120 over time. It's not going to happen overnight if you want to continually improve. Sitting at 80 RPMs is not going to make you improve, because there's only so much you can do. If you put that thing in a 5312 and turn it at 80 RPMs, and somebody puts it in the same gear and turns it at 100 RPM, you'll just watch them go. And if you're not able to turn it faster, that's all you got. You cannot keep, right now we're at 11 tooth cogs. You cannot keep going, and even that is limiting. You can have a 53.9 or a 53.8 on the bike if they even make that. And somebody in a 53.15 will drop you because they have more leg speed. Because that's what it takes. Because once they open that gap, you're still going to be struggling to get that gear rolling because it's heavy. Okay, so that's the reason why you cannot limit yourself. And don't pat yourself on the back because, I'm doing 80 RPMs and I'm hanging with this group. The groups are going to vary depending on who shows up and what level the group is at. So unless you plan on staying at the same level, you need to always push to improve yourself. And that's what I mean when I say we don't ride, we train. You must prepare your body. If you notice, we don't ride hard all the time, but when I need to go hard, I can go hard. Okay, you have to prepare your body and you have to be ready. You have to have those skills built up so that you can adapt to whatever comes up, whatever group you hook up with. And then you go to group rides and grand fondos and other things. You can latch onto a faster group and sit in. Do not limit yourself. There's nothing special about pedaling at one cadence. In fact, it's very boring. You need to teach your body to do more than you're comfortable with. That's what I said in another video. Get out of your comfort level. Do not do the same thing all the time because the body gets used to it unless you plan on just staying at one level. If you want to improve, you got to do more. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. I just wanted to make this video to follow up because I wanted to address the issue that you're not going to get speed staying at one cadence. Speed comes from the ability to adapt to the conditions. The wind picks up, rev it up. Or if you feel like, the wind's picked up, I'm going to drop my cadence, but I'm going to go in a bigger gear. You need to be able to handle all types of cadences to be a truly dynamic rider. So get out there, get your cadence in.